Welcome back to the channel where we dive deep into global affairs and shed light on an important geopolitical issue. In today's video, we'll be discussing a topic that has been a subject of debate and controversy. Of course, that's the proxy war in Ukraine and its implications for US taxpayers. Here we're looking at the convoy that made the incursion into Belgorod, which we'll cover in a few minutes. Let me stop this video before we get a copyright strike against Bruce Springsteen. Now, U.S. taxpayers ripped off again as military sends all supplies to Ukraine. Call to action, everybody. Go ahead and smack the like button right now. Really going to help me out. And hit the subscribe button with the notification bell to stay up to date. Now, U.S. military officials sounding the alarm about price gouging by American weapons suppliers, saying the number of weapons being sent to Ukraine is depleting stocks that can't be easily replaced due to soaring prices. Assad went on to insist that U.S. weapons manufacturers have jacked up their prices amid surging demand for armaments due to the war in Ukraine as well as potential future conflict with China over Taiwan. So keep an eye out for that. Of course, the military-industrial complex is running at full tilt, and the U.S. struggling to explain images of its destroyed hardware inside Russia, as the Russian Defense Ministry has released footage showing American vehicles used by Ukrainian militants in the Belgorod attack, supposedly Exhibit A. Now, confirmed militants used American armored vehicles to attack inside Russia, here out of Tyler Durden on Zero Hedge, starting on Monday, just following large cross-border raid out of Ukraine, where roughly 40 of them seem to have been destroyed. We've made very clear, this is out of the United States spokesperson, to Ukraine, we don't enable or encourage attacks outside Ukrainian borders, but we'd also like to add, it's up to Ukraine to decide how they want to conduct their military operations with our equipment. But the sabotage attack, which Moscow called a cross-border terrorism, and which killed one civilian and injured at least 12, appeared to involve American-supplied equipment, so it'll be interesting to see what the Kremlin's reaction to that is. Of course, it's no surprise, every country in NATO, and those not in NATO, are also contributing to the conflict. Now, Kremlin further said it was a Ukrainian attempt to divert attention from Russia's victory in Bakhmut, which I wholeheartedly agree. If you haven't seen that video, go ahead and click my previous two where I covered the defeat and Wagner raising the flag as they conquered Bakhmut. Now, the photographs appearing to show the cross-border attackers, U.S. armored vehicles, etc., as was the opening clip. U.S. administration is skeptical at this time of the veracity of the reports of U.S.-provided weapons used to strike Russia and Belgorod. Of course, it was this video. That was one of them, standing next to a American Humvee. Some more pictures here, and then this clip. Western arms for Ukraine make nuclear apocalypse more likely, Russia's Medvedev says. Russia PM visits China to deepen Moscow's Beijing economic ties. And it's obvious there will be no victory for the poor Ukrainians, Viktor Orban says. Hungarian Prime Minister, who continues to be a voice of reason these days, has once again spoken the quiet part out loud as he continues to be a thorn in the side of NATO and the EU regarding continually escalating arms deliveries to Ukraine, with F-16 fighter jets poised to be delivered to Kiev in the near future. Germany now investigating whether Ukraine bombed Nord Stream pipes, reports say. Of course, I've also done a video on this. Germany's domestic equivalent of the FBI is considering leads pointing towards Ukraine being the author of last year's explosions, which destroyed a key energy pipeline in the Baltic Sea. Surprise, surprise. And Ukraine sent about 50 men dressed as Russian military and a few vehicles and one tank into the villages on the outskirts of Belgorod. Just another perspective. Supposedly 39 of them were killed, 5 taken prisoner, and the parading that this is a massive achievement, proclaiming that Russia is under siege. They have convinced themselves that this publicity stunt is a military victory and that Bakhmut was not important at all, which is obviously ridiculous. I covered in my previous video the flip-flopping narratives, how Biden got to yes on F-16s in Ukraine, and then we're going to wrap this video up. So again, hit the like button if you haven't already. It's really going to help me out. Leave a comment down below. What do you guys think? Should we still be sending this much aid to Ukraine? We just unveiled another few $100 million. that we're sending this week. For more than a year, also let me know in the comments down below if you guys think the United States is actually going to default. And for more than a year, Kiev has asked for modern fighter jets. Biden administration's answer has been either no or, quote, not right now. That changed late last week when President Joe Biden told allies that he would support an international coalition, to train Ukrainian pilots on Western fighters, paving the way for modern jets to one day be transferred to the front line. And the last article here, Russia's moving weapons to Ukraine through Mali, the U.S. says. Out of Bloomberg, the U.S. suspects Russian mercenary firm Wagner Group is trying to ship weapons to fighters in Ukraine through the West African nation of Mali. According to State Department spokesman Matthew Miller, quote, "We do believe that Wagner is trying to obscure its efforts to acquire military equipment for use in Ukraine, including by working through third-party countries where it has a foothold," which I find this to be a laughable article that they've published given the fact that the United States is shipping weapons to Ukraine through every country on the earth that we possibly can. So on that note, I will see you guys in the next one.